The Cave of Mirrors is a fun little episode. It's got a fun concept that's pretty unique to it, considering, to my surprise, it's our first encounter with the multiverse in this series. Of course, that concept is nothing if it's not executed well, but luckily it is overall solid, even if it does have some clunk to it. And in all honesty, most of the issues stem from XY itself rather than specifically this episode. And with that said, I just blocked a bunch of folks who really like X and Y, so I'm gonna stop with all this preamble and actually get into the episode before I lose more. The episode starts off fast with our gang arriving at Refelction Cave. This is really nice because Refelction Cave is like an actual location from the original games. Now, you're probably thinking, wow, that's really weird of you to get excited over the anime exploring a place from the games. This is a TV show made to promote said games. Of course they would feature locations from them. Which, like, yeah, in theory you're right, but trust me, this is not as common as you think. Unfortunately, Pokemon has a really long and proud tradition of pummeling the bag on showing off the cool locations from the game. There's tons of examples for this, like Cherry Grove City being ignored for the Quagmire GS Ball episode, or Celadon City being ditched immediately after the gym battle for Hop 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 Town when there's still plenty of other great locations like the mall or the game corner they could have explored. But really, just the fact that this is the first game location I've talked about in these videos speaks volumes to this point. Anyways, Refelction Cave looked pretty accurate to its game counterpart visually. It does lose a little bit of the luster from the original's gimmick of, look how cool this is in 3D, which just was never going to have the same effect in a 2D anime versus the first 3D Pokemon game. However, the more notable detail is the difference in their main gimmicks. You see, the neat quirk of Refelction Cave that made it special is trainers being able to see you in their reflections for a battle challenge. This gimmick doesn't translate well to a passive medium like TV, so the anime's Refelction Cave changes it up for a portals to an alternate dimension thing. I'm okay with this change. It certainly has a lot more potential and worked better for the medium. I'd imagine a version of this episode where the gang just kind of looks at themselves in mirror crystals for 20 minutes would be kind of boring. We even get a small glimpse of what that alternate dimension, see what I did there, would look like with this bit with Serena. So yeah, definitely prefer this alternate dimension twist. The multiverse concept is neat. Like I said earlier, this is the first time it's explored in the anime, and surprisingly they only explored it one more time after this. But it's very appropriate though, for a couple of reasons. Yes, it's true that the alternate dimensions and multiverse thing was mostly a late 2010s, early 2020 thing than an early 2010s thing. Your superhero flicks, sci-fi romps, and all that jazz took a stab at the alternate variants crossing over a little later than this time period, but Pokemon was actually super ahead on this trend. They were going all in on this stuff with things like the Delta episode confirming the existence of two parallel Pokemon worlds, one with Mega Evolution and one without Megas. And then when we fast forward to Gen 7, we get the Ultra Wormholes and the Ultra Beasts from alternate dimensions. So the anime getting in on this multiverse stuff makes all the sense in the world here. Now that I ranted on long enough about the setting and concept, I should probably actually start talking about the plot. Man, I'm bad at writing these things. So Mirror Ash appears in the mirror and steals Pikachu, with our Ash immediately chasing after him into the portal. This leads to Ash ending up in the mirror dimension. You can tell it's different because green. Shortly thereafter, Ash gets introduced to our mirror characters, with the main gimmick being that they are opposites of their original counterparts in some way or another. From last met to first, alternate dimension Clement here is a speedy wizard instead of a slow scientist. I mean, literally runs faster than normie Clement, who has this gag in the series of being really slow on foot. I really like this immersion. Yeah, it is a little shallow, but personally I feel it's the most fun. What can I say, the image of Clement zooming by is funny. Alternate Bonnie is very polite and proper, as well as being very respectful towards her brother. This immersion is also pretty fun, but it doesn't really reach its full potential with how little screen time she gets. Plus, I don't know if Bonnie being prim and proper would have been the first idea I'd have for a Bizarro Bonnie. Maybe there was something in the original Japanese that the dub had to cover over as best they could that I'm unaware of, but it just seems like a strange choice. Not a bad one though. And then there's Serena. Mirror Serena has a very strong personality compared to normie Serena, and I'm gonna stop that train of thought because the Amore shipper is probably looking over my shoulder with a shotgun as we speak. I'm free! Holy moly, I can share my real thoughts about Serena without fear! Oh my god, thank you, yes! Okay, so, Mirror Serena has a very strong personality, in the sense that she actually has one compared to normie Serena. She's outspoken, likes talking, gets very angry very easily, and just is a lot more to take in than normie Serena, and she is awesome! It's just so refreshing to have a Serena with a real character, and by comparison, just shows how boring normie Serena is with her character traits of liking Ash and generic feminine stereotypes. It's a mirror joke entirely intended into what could have been. We could have had a Serena with real memorable character traits and an actual personality, but we just don't for no discernible reason. So with our mirror character's introduction out of the way, Clement dispels the confusion and explains how the mirror cave and alternate dimensions works. The explanation is mostly fine enough, except for the fact that he can't remember one very specific detail. Clunk. Yeah, this setup for the ending conflict here is just really bad. It's just so tacked on. It feels like the writers realized the ending conflict kind of comes out of nowhere and just kind of threw it in the second draft. There definitely was a better way to do this somewhere in the rewrite. We don't have time to dwell on that though, because we got a battle with Serena to prove that our Ash is not Mirror Ash, and oh my god, a Serena that can actually battle! Yes, thank god, please! Holy moly, this is so hype. Oh man, and that face by Fennekin. Look at that, just look at that. This right here, this single motion from her, straight up, has more interesting personality in it than every other scene from Normie Fennekin throughout the entire rest of this series. Oh, and the battle itself is really great. It's short, but has really good clear strategy and fight choreography that makes it very strategically and visually interesting despite its brevity. The visuals for the episode in general, though, are great all around. I mean, of course it is. This is like the one thing XY is consistently good at. I have many different complaints about X and Y, and yes, its visuals can be a bit too SAO good, but at a surface glance, this episode has that same great X and Y visual quality with nice animations and great presentation. No complaints on that front at all. So after that battle, we meet with Mirror Ash, who I'll talk about later, and the search for Mirror Pikachu begins. The scene where Clement makes the spell to find Pikachu is cool. I like the paralleling between Mirror Clement's spell and Normie Clement's inventions, with one working well and the other one not. The contrast just makes the scene really fun. I don't want to think about the subtext of magic being great and working perfectly while science failing and blowing up, cause they're weird, but I also don't think that it was intentional, so I absolutely won't knock points for it. Either way, it's a fun scene that gets the story moving. Anyways, as alluded to, the getting Ash back to his dimension plot is put on hold while we have a rescue Mirror Pikachu plot we have to deal with. Where is Mirror Pikachu? With Team Rocket. Team Rocket is okay in this episode. They don't fall into a lot of the pitfalls Team Rocket tends to fall in. They're introduced earlier in the episode here, so it doesn't feel like padding out for time when we fight them. They also don't detract from the main conflict around Mirror Ash, just giving it a needed external push. But most importantly, they don't overstay their welcome, being taken out quickly so it doesn't feel like we're wasting time on them. Also, this gag with Mirror Team Rocket being heroic at the very end is really funny. So yeah, Team Rocket here definitely has more positives than negatives. Which leads us to discuss Mirror Ash and his conflict. So there was a lot of ways to do a parallel Ash, and they went for Mirror Ash being a crybaby. He's bad at battling, quick to give up, and his character arc centers around him not being that anymore. This development happens through his interaction with Normie Ash. Mirror Ash becomes less of a quitter by seeing Normie Ash never giving up, and also through, Normie Ash telling him to not give up and not be a crybaby. My thoughts on this decision and character arc are, I mean, it functions and flows from what's established in the episode and the series. The issue, however, is that this idea of an alternate dimension Ash being a crybaby is established from one of the most obnoxious elements of this series. Without going into a much larger discussion about X and Y as a whole, Ash in the series can be a bit too much of a generic self-insert protagonist. This super cool, awesome, perfect Paragon guy. It's so prominent that the fandom even has a name for it. Badass Motherfucker Ash, or BAMF Ash for short. If you couldn't tell by my tone of voice while talking about this, I don't really like this direction for Ash. I feel like it misses the point of his character, and making him a generic anime protagonist is a disservice to the series that trades in its uniqueness for the sake of trying to be like every other anime. This conflict with Mirror Ash feeds into that, and it's really annoying. I could go into hardcore detail, but just the concept of our Ash being so amazing and awesome and cool that a lesser Ash from a different dimension looks up to him and is a better person just by meeting him, it's just a little too self-congratulatory, a little too wish fulfillment-y, a little too much of a power fantasy, a bit too much, That whole thing aside, let's get back to the plot. Team Rocket is dealt with, and all is well as end. Clunk! Yeah, Clement just suddenly remembering the sunset thing is so stupid. I already talked about it earlier when they set it up, so I won't go into too long here, but there was definitely a better way to do this, and the script definitely needed one more draft. The clunk doesn't end here though, because how the two worlds connect again is even clunkier. Basically, it boils down to just wishing really hard. Yeah, pretty bad. And what's worse is that I kind of feel like all this clunk is just kind of unnecessary. Just treat Ash getting back home with a bit more urgency. how the portals open in random intervals, and then when it opens for a decent amount of time, then have the world start drifting apart due to wibbly-wobbly multiversy issues that are a lot easier to handwave. I've been complaining about how we get to the finale, but with that said, once we do get there, it's a pretty solid ending. It's a nice little action piece to end on with pretty cool presentation. Not much to complain about, so instead I'll go on the Serena tangent. Look, the Amore shipper's not here. Indulge me with this nerd junk. So there's this great moment here with Mirror Serena, of her telling Normie Serena to think really hard about how much she wants to be on her journey with Ash. What this shows is that Mirror Serena harbors similar feelings to that of Normie Serena, that she also likes Ash and loves being on this journey with him. This shows that you can have a Serena with a real personality the way Mirror Serena does, but still have her like Ash. So the Serena we follow not having a real personality didn't have to happen. There was a way where we could have had our cake and eat it too. There could have been a Serena character with an interesting, fun personality that still could have a crush on Ash, but also not have that be her soul-defining character trait. Okay, now quick, while they're still gone, I think we can zoom through the rest of my 20-page thesis. Never mind, long live the Iron Boot. So yeah, overall though, the ending is fine. It wraps things up well, gives us a good climax and nice action. It just kind of works. That's also how I'd sum up this episode as a whole. It's an enjoyable little number. It has some flaws, but none I could really level at this particular episode alone. Ultimately, it uses its concept pretty well, it's visually solid, and it's just something I had fun with, which is really the least I could ask for. So yeah, definitely an episode of X and Y I can get behind. Howdy y'all, Dan here. Happy New Year. I was trying to get this out before the new year, but the holidays got really busy for me, so I ended up taking way longer than I should have, which sorry about that. But it's out now, and I hope you really enjoyed the video. I really wanted to get back into Anipoke Assortment for this winter break. Unfortunately, it looks like this might be the only Anipoke Assortment I'll have out because I just don't have enough time to write, record, and edit another one. But I will at least try to write and hopefully record another one. I don't think I'll get to editing, but at least I'll try to write and record. And even if I don't get another Anipoke Assortment out, I will also still be streaming Fridays for the rest of the break. And yeah, lots of exciting things to come for this channel in the new year. Lots of exciting things going on here, even if other stuff takes priority. But I am looking forward to what I'll be able to do and what the channel has in store for us in the new year. So yeah, like I said, thank you all for watching, and until next time, bye.